People say boxing is all about grit, glory, and that final bell, but right now, the sport is facing a crisis that has nothing to do with landing the perfect punch. Gervonta "Tank" Davis, once hailed as an unstoppable force, is under arrest for charges so serious they could end more than just his career. Federal authorities allege that Davis and his team bribed officials to guarantee he wouldn't lose his controversial showdown against Lamont Roach. Before anyone realized what was happening, Davis found himself in custody, and the entire boxing world erupted in disbelief. Then, to make matters even more chaotic, Floyd Mayweather showed up at the holding facility to visit his former protégé. With their on-again, off-again relationship making headlines for years, Mayweather's sudden appearance has everyone whispering about what's really going on behind closed doors. Davis's fall from grace didn't start overnight. For a while, he was one of the most captivating fighters out there, knocking out opponents with surgical precision and amassing a fan base that spanned beyond hardcore boxing enthusiasts. His punches seemed unstoppable, and his knockout highlight reels were the stuff of viral gold. But behind the scenes, Davis was slowly accumulating a stack of legal woes. Not long ago, he narrowly avoided being sent to jail for violating his probation linked to a 2020 hit-and-run incident. The judge had grown so frustrated with his repeated antics that she extended his probation by 18 months, demanded a sizable donation to a local community assistance program, and warned him he was running out of chances. Even so, Davis left the courtroom with what many considered a slap on the wrist, free to carry on with his lavish lifestyle and training schedule, until federal authorities showed up at his doorstep. According to the arrest warrant, the feds have been gathering evidence suggesting that Davis's team orchestrated something a lot bigger than petty rule-breaking. They suspect a deep layer of corruption that could stretch beyond that single fight. For years, rumors have swirled that boxing judges aren't always on the up and up, but rarely does someone face federal charges for it. With Davis now behind bars, investigators are reportedly expanding their probe, speaking to insiders who might shed light on how widespread these alleged raiding operations really are. Friends of Davis say he's in shock. After all, he's no stranger to controversy, but federal bribery charges are a different beast. Local authorities are one thing, federal agents are another. Their conviction rate is notoriously high, often because they offer deals to smaller players in exchange for bigger names. It's made everyone in his inner circle a bit skittish. The question isn't just whether Davis is guilty, it's whether he might name names to save himself, potentially pulling other boxers, promoters, and managers down with him. If this scandal unfolds the way many are predicting, it could be one of the biggest black eyes boxing has ever had. The fight at the center of the storm is the Davis versus Lamont Roach showdown. Before the bell rang, fans expected an explosive matchup. Roach wasn't regarded as an easy opponent, and Davis's camp had been hyping this bout for months, painting it as the next blockbuster event on the fight calendar. When the two finally met in the ring, it was a tense back-and-forth affair. Roach displayed skill and poise, landing crisp punches that many spectators felt earned him an edge on the scorecards. Even Davis's supporters had to admit Roach was performing beyond expectations. But when the official result came in, most fans couldn't believe their ears. A majority draw. The murmurs started immediately. Something didn't add up, people said. Either the judges hadn't been paying attention, or they were incentivized to protect Davis's undefeated record. Roach himself didn't hold back. He insisted he'd done everything needed to win and suspected foul play when he saw the final tallies. He pointed to a few crucial rounds, especially one in which it looked like Davis should have been penalized for effectively taking a knee. Despite that, the judges somehow refused to count it as a knockdown. Roach wasn't alone in his frustration. Boxing analysts took to social media, highlighting that one questionable call can swing a draw to a loss or vice versa. Once word spread that Davis's team might have slipped payments to fight officials, the suspicion only grew louder. It wasn't just bitterness over a close fight. There were allegations of outright corruption. What made this even more bizarre was the timing. Davis had just dodged jail time by the skin of his teeth in a separate case. A Baltimore judge had extended his probation after he violated the terms by traveling without permission. She literally caught him dining out in the city when he should have been in Florida. One might think he'd tread carefully afterward, but within days he was in federal custody facing charges more serious than any he faced before. Some observers say the judge's frustrated tone in court was almost prophetic. She had warned him that ignoring her orders and living as though he was above the law would eventually catch up to him. It seems her words carried more weight than anyone realized. And then, just when people were starting to digest these new allegations, Floyd Mayweather appeared at the custody facility to see Davis. Their relationship has long been a soap opera of public arguments, social media jabs, and dramatic makeups. For a while, Mayweather was like a guiding light in Davis's career, helping him navigate the complexities of professional boxing and turning him into a star attraction. Over time, though, tensions flared, with Davis accusing Mayweather of trying to control his decisions, overshadow his success, and undermine him whenever possible. Mayweather, in turn, distanced himself from Davis, telling the press that the fighter was a grown man capable of managing his own affairs. That's why Mayweather's sudden presence now has left everyone guessing. Is he there to offer genuine support, or is he gathering info to protect himself? There's already speculation that Mayweather wants to figure out the scope of the investigation. Federal probes often trigger chain reactions, so if Davis is in trouble, it might not be long before the feds turn their gaze toward promoters and others. One storyline making the rounds is that Mayweather, having been in the sport for decades, knows exactly how deep some of these alleged backroom deals might go. His visit could be a tactic to stay ahead of any potential fallout, ensuring that he's not blindsided by Davis naming him, or anyone connected to him, as part of a broader scheme. But that's only half the story. For many, the bigger question is, did Mayweather or his team have any role in the alleged bribery operation? Right now, there's zero confirmed evidence pointing that direction, but rumors spread like wildfire whenever large sums of money and undefeated records are at stake. Davis once suggested that Mayweather had tried to sabotage him by pushing him into a fight he wasn't prepared for, in hopes he would lose. If that's true, it wouldn't be far-fetched to wonder whether Mayweather might also play a role in controlling judges or referees, though again, those are just whispered speculations. Before diving any deeper, let's pause for a quick health tip that a lot of you might find interesting if you're an athlete, busy professional, or always on the go. Want a natural way to boost your energy and support overall wellness? Moringa could be your secret weapon. Often called the miracle tree, it's rich in essential vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. For a convenient daily dose, try Moringa powder capsules. Easy to swallow, easy to pack. It might help strengthen your immune system, support digestion, and even promote healthy-looking skin and hair. Interested? Check out the link in the description to grab what I like to call Moringa Magic. There's an ongoing 50% discount for a limited time. And yes, it's an affiliate link, so purchasing might help support this channel at no additional cost to you. If you're aiming for a healthier routine, this could be a straightforward step. Now let's get back to the story. With Davis in custody and Mayweather making unexpected moves, everyone else is watching their backs. People who used to stand with Davis now worry that their own actions might come under scrutiny if investigators start digging. The judge who gave Davis a chance to keep boxing after his probation violations has likely seen the headlines and might feel her leniency was a mistake. All the signs point to a massive storm cloud rolling over the sport, and it's happening in real time. Boxing insiders have been muttering about shady dealings for years. In a world where pay-per-view buys can generate tens of millions of dollars overnight, the temptation to guarantee certain outcomes is always lurking. Why leave a fight to chance when you can pay for a desired outcome, especially if an undefeated record means bigger gates and bigger paydays? Davis, with his near-celebrity status, had become one of the golden geese in the boxing world. And if these accusations are true, some promoters or associates might have seen him as too big to fail. But at the federal level, no one is untouchable. Meanwhile, Lamont Roach hasn't been quiet. He stated his belief that the fight was rigged from the start and that the judge's decisions were laughable, especially regarding the instance where Davis dropped to a knee without being touched by a legitimate knockdown blow. In boxing, any time a fighter voluntarily touches the canvas, unless it's due to a blatant foul, should be ruled a knockdown. That one call could have swung the fight, and now that the authorities are investigating, Roach is more determined than ever to have the official decision overturned. If that happens, Davis's reputation would take a colossal hit, potentially tainting every win on his record in the eyes of the public. Adding to the tension, Jeff Mayweather, Floyd's uncle and a seasoned boxing figure, chimed in publicly. He took Roach's side, suggesting that the knee moment absolutely should have been scored a knockdown. Coming from the Mayweather family, those words carry weight. It's not just a random pundit speaking. This is someone who's been around boxing his entire life. Fans immediately wondered, is Jeff speaking from a place of genuine observation, or is his statement another piece in the puzzle that Floyd's camp is assembling against Davis? Given that Davis has spent years accusing Floyd of trying to hold him back, it's suspicious timing for Jeff Mayweather to publicly endorse Roach's stance. This entire fiasco comes with a human cost. Davis has a massive following, many of whom are loyal to him no matter what. They see him as a product of tough environments and fierce ambition, someone who fought his way up from challenging circumstances. To them, any condemnation feels like outsiders kicking a man when he's down. But even his most devoted fans are finding it hard to spin bribery charges. If proven, these accusations could invalidate not just the Lamont Roach fight, but call into question Davis's entire career. For a fighter whose brand is built on dominance and authenticity, that kind of blow is devastating. The judge who oversaw Davis's probation case also looms large in the background. She had made it crystal clear that she wasn't looking to lock him up but would do so if he proved incapable of respecting the law. Davis apparently decided to gamble, leaving the state without her permission and effectively daring the justice system to punish him. He got away with it the first time, but the moment he got cuffed for potential federal crimes, the narrative changed. Now it looks less like ignorance or small mistakes and more like a pattern of reckless behavior. That pattern, combined with serious charges of corrupting a professional sporting event, can make for a harsh sentencing if the court determines he's guilty. There's also the question of what shape Davis's boxing future might take if he manages to beat the charges or negotiate a plea deal. Even if he escapes prison, the publicity is harmful. Sponsors could drop him. Upcoming fights could be canceled. Athletic commissions might refuse to grant him a license. Promoters might back away, too frightened by the prospect of investing millions in someone who could be whisked off to prison at any time or who might forever carry the label of fight rigger. The betrayal felt by fans could be hard to recover from. Boxing thrives on spectacle, but the illusion shatters if everyone starts believing outcomes are staged. Mayweather's role in all of this may never be fully understood. On one hand, perhaps he genuinely wants to see Davis come out okay, remembering the early days when he believed the younger fighter could carry on his legacy. On the other hand, Mayweather has consistently shown he's a shrewd businessman. He doesn't risk his image unless he absolutely must. That's why some suspect he's visiting Davis to gauge how much Davis might talk if he's cornered by prosecutors. If Davis cuts a deal and starts naming other fights that were allegedly fixed or manipulated, the entire structure of top-tier boxing could come crashing down. There's an enormous amount of money at stake. Mayweather, who once reigned as the pay-per-view king, has every reason to keep these allegations from growing into a scandal so big it ruins boxing's reputation for years. While the feds focus on Davis's fight against Roach, there's a growing buzz that they might look into other high-profile matches. The moment an athlete is willing to talk, deals can be made. If Davis claims there were other bouts arranged or influenced by money, it opens the door for investigators to dig into fight footage, scoring records, and suspicious referee calls. They could subpoena financial records from various promoters, find out who got paid off, and turn every questionable decision into a potential indictment. The ripple effect could be enormous, especially if the feds believe boxing corruption extends beyond Davis's circle. Some observers draw parallels to earlier eras of sports scandals. Think of the doping controversies that rocked cycling or the game-fixing fiascos in professional basketball overseas. The difference here is that boxing has always had a somewhat murky reputation, with fans complaining about judges' biases and odd officiating for decades. To have the federal government step in, armed with the power to file criminal charges, takes it to a whole new level. If prosecutors compile undeniable evidence, the public might finally get an inside look at how some of these controversial decisions are made. Conversely, if Davis is cleared, his supporters will proclaim him the victim of a system determined to see him fail. Meanwhile, Roach stands in an odd limbo. He's campaigning for the commission to review the fight and possibly overturn the draw into a victory in his favor. A formal reversal is rare in boxing, but not unheard of. If that happens, Davis's record would be tarnished, but Roach's career could skyrocket. He would be retroactively declared the victor of a major event, automatically boosting his profile and potentially landing him bigger fights. It would also put pressure on organizations and promoters to treat him as a legitimate top contender, rather than an asterisk in Davis's highlight reel. That's where Jeff Mayweather's statements become more than just idle comments. If more experienced trainers and fighters publicly declare that Roach deserved the nod, it strengthens his case. One could argue that Mayweather's stance, intentional or not, is helping set the stage for a reversal. Davis must be feeling that pressure. This isn't just about staying out of prison. It's about clinging to whatever shred of credibility remains. He built a reputation on unwavering toughness and knockout power. Getting stripped of a victory because of a so-called judging error would be humiliating. Having it happen in tandem with a bribery investigation would be devastating. Boxing fans have taken sides, debating the complexities on social media. Some remain staunchly pro-Davis, pointing to his accomplishments and believing everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Others say enough is enough. If the sport doesn't clean house, fans will walk away. There's widespread agreement on one point, though. The fight with Roach did not look like a fair result to most people who watched. Now, with the bribery allegations in the air, more folks are convinced they were right to question it. The biggest challenge for Davis is proving that it was all a coincidence, that the judges' calls were simply inept, not influenced. But how do you prove innocence when the system behind the scenes is so opaque? If the commission flips the decision in Roach's favor, expect an avalanche of speculation about other questionable matches. People will start rewatching Davis's previous fights with a skeptical eye, wondering if any close calls or strange refereeing might be part of a pattern. That kind of scrutiny can damage a fighter's legacy beyond repair. Even if Davis emerges from all this without a prison sentence, the label of cheater is hard to shake. So how does this all end? Right now it's impossible to say. Federal investigations move slowly, gathering evidence until they believe they have a solid case. They won't hesitate to offer plea bargains in exchange for bigger fish, and Davis might not be the only high-profile boxer they're looking into. Meanwhile, Floyd Mayweather's appearance at the custody facility remains a hot topic. Is he checking on Davis out of genuine concern, or is he ensuring his own name stays clear if Davis starts talking? Could Mayweather, with his unmatched influence, orchestrate a behind-the-scenes maneuver to protect boxing's image? What we do know is that this ordeal has rocked the boxing world like nothing else in recent memory. An arrest, a controversial fight, accusations of bribery, a looming federal investigation, and a surprise cameo from Floyd Mayweather. It's a script that feels straight out of a Hollywood thriller. Yet it's very real, and the consequences are already playing out. One fighter's empire could collapse. Another's might rise. And a sport adored by millions could find itself under the microscope, facing questions it has dodged for decades. Where do you stand on these accusations? Do you believe Davis and his team are at the heart of a massive scandal, or is this another example of boxing politics spiraling out of control? As investigators dig deeper, more revelations may surface, possibly exposing corruption that's been festering in the shadows for years. The once invincible Gervonta Davis might see his entire career rewritten, his undefeated legend tarnished by allegations that he couldn't truly win without stacking the odds. The drama with Floyd Mayweather is just another puzzle piece. Are they allies or adversaries when it counts the most? This story isn't finished. Every day, new details emerge, fueling speculation about who else might be involved and whether the sport can survive yet another scandal. Boxing has endured so much criticism over the years. Accusations of fixed fights, incompetent judges, unethical promoters, but it's also produced timeless champions and unforgettable matches. The question now is whether the industry can afford the fallout from a federal bribery case involving one of its brightest stars. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the sport will come out of this intact, or are we looking at a potential unraveling of everything boxing fans hold dear? Whichever way it goes, it's clear that the next few months are critical. This controversy might just reshape the entire sport, forcing commissions to re-examine how they select and monitor officials, rework oversight procedures, and ensure that the best fighter in the ring is actually the one who walks away with the victory. As for Tank Davis, the man at the center of the storm, his future hangs in the balance. If the allegations stick, he could face more than legal repercussions. His name might be forever etched in boxing history as the fighter who took the low road to protect a spotless record. If he's cleared, it could be the wake-up call he so desperately needed, a chance to rebuild his life and career, free from legal distractions. But for now, there are more questions